So for those of you watching this on YouTube, you will see that I'm back in the studio again. I am recording one of my classes. I have asked them to be as quiet as they can, but you never know. So as always, we arrive, we land, we settle, whatever expression works for you. And the whole point of this early part of our yoga sessions is just a sense of connecting with ourselves, connecting with this moment, and just giving yourself permission to take this time out for you. So whatever you've been doing already this morning or today, depending what time you're watching this, then we just draw a line under it. And whatever you've got planned for the rest of the day, then you would draw a line in front of you, creating this space as if you're creating a little cocoon, a little bubble for yourself to be in, so we can focus on ourselves. For a lot of us, that's quite an unusual thing to do. We're not very good at looking after ourselves. We look after other people. We do things for other people. We don't always do things for ourselves. We be there for other people. And sometimes we're just not there for ourselves. So the invitation as we settle our physical body down is to check out how you feel emotionally, energetically. How's your mind? What have you got going on? There's loads of stuff going on. It's the 1st of December today. And for a lot of people, that really doesn't hold a whole bunch of joy. Not everyone loves this time of year. Totally understandable. We've all got memories, reflections. But we're also invited to remember other parts of this time of year, the parts that do make us feel fabulous and make us want to burst out laughing. We remember fantastic holidays maybe this time of year, gathering of friends and family. Okay, we may not be able to gather together this year for whatever reason, but we have memories. Every moment of every life is a chance to create another memory. We're also feeling pretty much, not exactly deep into the winter, as we know it's probably going to get a little bit colder, sadly. But those of us that kind of watch the calendar, as much as we're invited to be in this moment, some of us are watching the calendar for December the 21st, winter solstice, to know that from that day onwards, then the days will become a little bit longer, very slightly. Evenings become a little bit lighter. But we also need to remind ourselves what this time of year is for. It is for us to go within. If we go back through ancestors, at this time of year, whenever it began to get dark, then people would begin to gather whatever they needed and go indoors. They'd sit around the fire, they'd light candles, gas lights, whatever lighting they had. And they would understand that this time of year is a time of rest, it's a time of reflection, a time of recharging. Because nowadays with electricity and all our media devices, sometimes our days don't change a whole bunch from summer to winter. People who are still connected to farming or anything to do with the land and animals, it's a struggle this time of year to try to fit all the jobs they've got to do during the hours of daylight. But it's quite a natural thing. I can remember casting my mind back to when I lived abroad and we had a hurricane, we lost the power for 11 and a half weeks. And it was exactly the same deal. As it began to get dark, you'd gather everything up, all your cooking utensils, you'd light the gas barbecue maybe, you'd get the candles out ready, you would prepare yourself for being indoors doing absolutely not much at all, because there wasn't much to do. As soon as it got dark, and it was quite cathartic. You get up when it got light, you go to bed or go indoors at least when it got dark. There's a natural rhythm that nature has this time of year, and if we observe it, if we're connected to it, then we may feel less out of place at this time of year. This is our time to rest, to do exactly what the rest of nature is doing around you. Got pets, you may find your pets a little bit more lethargic, not wanting to go out for such a long walk maybe, happy to be curled up on the sofa if you've got a cat. Just notice these differences, pay attention to it, and notice it within you. So we may find our yoga practice slowing down a little bit, changing, altering. Maybe not doing so many repetitions, maybe not going so deep in some poses, whatever works for you. So having given our physical body the chance now to really let go, taking up more space on the mat. Again, check in with your fluctuation of your thoughts. Let's relax the facial muscles, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the ears. Try to release that tension in the forehead, the temples, the bridge of your nose. Maybe around the eyes, behind the eyes, as the jaw becomes slack. And just soften, 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 soften. And as you do that through the facial muscles, maybe allow the shoulders to drop down a little bit more. Let that crease in the back of your armpit rest on the floor. And just be here. Being present. For me, the expression paying attention actually works a little bit differently for me personally. Being present, for me, is a bit wishy-washy. It's like, yeah, I'm here. I'm not doing anything else. But to pay attention means that my senses, my awareness, both internal and external, are a little bit more tuned up. Can we slow those thoughts down? Can we turn the volume down on the thoughts? Sometimes that's all we can do. That's the best we can hope for. Other times maybe we can really explore some of those thoughts, maybe discard them, maybe put them in a pending file. A lot of them are reminders, aren't they? Things that we've got to do when we finish our practice or tomorrow. Planning for the weekend. So we try to kind of sort out a little bit through our thoughts if we can. Keep that jaw soft. Turn the corners of your mouth up. Can we draw the chin in to feel that gentle stretch in the back of your neck? If you've got something looming that really is preying on your mind, that maybe is disturbing your sleep, making it awkward to get a good night's rest. Again, there's a very simple little equation here, if you like. Like, can we change it? Is it within our control to change it? And if the answer to that question is no, then we're invited just to release it. If the answer is yes, yes, we can change it, this situation that we're not looking forward to, the one that's really bothering us. Is it within your control to change it? Yes. Then we are invited to maybe view that as being a possible way forward. Not everything is within our control. We know that. We understand that. Take it a few moments just to maybe sort out a few of your thoughts, maybe release some if you can. Maybe imagine your thoughts a bit like helium balloons with long strings, and it's your choice whether you grab hold to all those strings or whether every now and again you let one go. Imagine the balloon floating through the roof of your house, the ceiling here at the studio, and just being blown away by the wind. Just letting it be dispersed into the universe. Maybe now, with a little bit less fluctuation of your thoughts, we can take our attention to our breath. We can notice how the organic breath feels. I tend to refer to this, as you know, as a maintenance breath. It's just enough to keep us going. The body regulates what we need. We know if we expand some energy, then our breath gets deeper and quicker and stronger. The body knows it needs a little bit more oxygen. When we rest, whether we're just kind of, lying down in bed, reading before you finally go to sleep, or maybe you're just sitting down having a cup of tea, then you may feel your breath becomes a little bit softer. There's no need for a deep, strong breath. And very often the way we breathe is an indicator of how we feel. And the same way, the way we breathe can actually change how we feel. It can lift us, it can energize us. So this is what we're hoping we're going to do this morning. The invitation is to take your attention to the area of your body where you know that you feel the movement as we begin to lengthen and deepen our breath. So totally in your own time, just begin to breathe in a bit deeper. Maybe notice, is it the belly that breathes? Are you a diaphragmatic breather? Is it the rib cage you breathe? Does it feel tight? Especially as it gets colder as well, we notice that everything has the potential to get a little bit tight, not quite so warmed up physically, muscularly, or even skeletally maybe as we are when it's physically warm. Begin to notice your breath. Is there a pause? Do we need to create a pause? There's no judgment here, there's no criticism at all, just be curious. And if there isn't a pause, then maybe we can just create one. Just a very gentle pause. Feeling the gentle breath being drawn in as the ribs expand. Remember, the ribs expand 360 degrees. We can feel the rib cage lengthening as well as deepening and widening and opening. Feel the tightening of your waistband as you breathe into the belly area. And we are invited to energize the exhale just as strongly as we do the inhale. So there's intercostal muscles, there's 2 sets. The second set contracts through the ribs. We draw the belly in. We're now realizing we're using our abdominal muscles, our waist muscles maybe. Some of the muscles in your back now become your breathing muscles. Draw the chin in, lift the corners of your mouth up. You know, there's always something to smile about, even if it's the smallest of things. Can we lengthen, deepen our breath again? Or do you feel like you've got to the depth that you wish to stay at? Strong, deep breath, you can feel the amount of air you're drawing in, moving through the nostrils. You feel the coolness of it as you breathe in. You notice it's a bit warmer as you exhale, the body's warmed it up. We also know that our body is not completely symmetrical, so what you may be experiencing perhaps is a sensation in one part of your body stronger than anywhere else. If you've had surgery, injury, strain, whatever it is, and you still feel it, then you may notice that that side or that area of your body doesn't open the same way. Not as much as, not more than, just the same way. So we're looking for the balance here rather than symmetry in our movements. So we make sure that the balance is there between the durations of the in-breath, the out-breath, the pauses. And we know that we can play with this. So please feel free to do that. If you know there's a pattern of breathing, whether it's your 2-to-1 ratio, whether it's your box breath, maybe if you're familiar with those, if there's any of those that work for you better, you feel, makes you more connected, staying with your breath more than others, then please feel free to go there. Otherwise, here in the studio, we're just going to maintain, again, that pattern. Maybe the duration of your breath in and out is much longer than the pauses. Maybe it's not that much different. Maybe you're leaning towards that box breath. But let's just exhale a little bit longer and deeper than the inhale. Just create that imbalance briefly, giving yourself this chance to let go of anything and everything you no longer need. Maybe it is that problem you've been worrying about. Can you solve it? No? Okay. It really doesn't matter how much effort and energy we waste worrying about things we have no control over. Nothing is going to change. Maybe letting go with this lengthened exhale of some of your memories, some of your reflections of your past. We can't change it. Doesn't matter how much we think about it, how much we wish scenario had gone another way. It didn't. And it never will. We can't rewrite our history. So again, we're invited just to accept that. The past is somewhere where we do our learning. They're lessons. It's not a life sentence. We're not invited to live in our past. So we bring those lessons with us. We change. Our past has changed us as much as our future will, but we just don't know how much. So we accept. We accept we can't always control our future. We cannot change our past. Allow that to be maybe some of the stress that you're carrying, some of the anxiety as you exhale. And then maybe come back and find that balance between the in and the out breath. And now as if we created some space inside of every aspect of our body, then we lengthen and deepen the in-breath. And we feel this energy being drawn in. Pranayama, conscious, mindful breath work. Prana being the Sanskrit word for energy, chi, life force. You feel yourself drawing this in. This is more than your organic breath will do. This is what your body needs right now. Every cell, every organ having a little bit of a lift, every system having a little bit of a boost. And of course, we're also inviting ourselves to come out of that fight or flight mode into your rest, restore, replenish, rejuvenate. This is like plugging your mobile phone in. We are recharging ourselves right now with every breath you draw in. Maybe give your breath a colour. Maybe observe it as it flows right down to that dodgy hip, that iffy knee, those areas that need the extra bit of help maybe. The exhale is the same as it was. We know that we're releasing whatever we no longer need. We're still doing that. But the focus now is on this drawing in everything we do need. Is it the courage to make changes in our future? Is it the acceptance that we need for the things that we can't change? Is it the ability to connect more with our own internal choices? They're always there. Just sometimes we have to pay attention a little bit more. We have to listen. And then sometimes we need to draw in the courage to actually act on those choices we've just made. Drawing in everything that your mind, your body, your energetic body, your emotional body, everything that you need. And then gradually, gently, let's come back to that balance, or something that we feel is a balance between the in-breath, the out-breath, the pauses, and just have a deep sense of gratitude for being able to breathe with ease. My criteria for a good day is being able to stand on my own 2 feet and breathing unaided. Keep it simple. And then we have the choice here to slowly begin to reduce the amount of air that we're drawing in and releasing out, slowly reduce the time of the pauses, and gradually come back to your organic breath. The other option we have, which we do sometimes, is we completely exhale, completely, utterly draw the navel in, squeeze that breath out, visualize those 5 lobes of your lungs being squeezed to get the residue out, and stay there for as long as you feel comfortable. It's your practice, always. Do what feels right for you. And then gradually we're all going to come down to the floor if you're not already, being aware of the balance, the kind of the rhythm of your organic breath. You're going to bend our knees if your legs were extended, and just take a few moments here, just noticing how you feel. Maybe gently swaying those knees a little bit side to side, maybe taking the arms out to the side. Draw the chin in a little bit more, maybe let the chin move in the opposite direction of your knees. Again, kind of no real pattern, no real order here, just a very gentle moving of your body. Coming back to center, excuse me, walking those feet maybe a little bit closer towards your bottom. And then those little pelvic tilts are gently going to become a little bit stronger, just gradually. Drawing the navel in, tucking the tailbone under. Feeling this contraction, so as if you're bringing the pubic bone towards the sternum, the hips towards the ribs. And you may even find yourself coming up into a very gentle, easeful bridge pose. It's quite early in our practice to do a big one, so just go as deep as you feel you need to. And then slowly come back to center. We're going to draw both legs in towards our chest, hugging your legs with your arms around them or at the back of your thigh, whatever works best for your proportion. And just take a few moments here. Can we draw the breath in again? Can we draw the chin in again? Can we draw the knees in again? Can we draw everything inwards? Notice the length of your spine, the stretching in the back of the neck, the gentle maybe releasing of the lower back down to the floor so it doesn't feel quite so arched. Let's hold on to the right leg, left leg up to the ceiling, slowly lowering it down to the ground, lightly brush the heel against the floor, and then let's float that left leg up. Change legs. As you inhale next time, lengthen the right leg up to the ceiling, fold the left leg in, lower the right leg down, lightly brush the heel against the floor, and slowly and gently lift the leg up. Again, drawing it in, we're going to change one more time. So left leg now, fold the right thigh into the body so we're stabilizing through the pelvic girdle. Slowly let that left leg come down, lightly brush the heel, and gradually float the left leg back up again. One last time on the right side. Just slowly, gently, enjoying the sense of being aware of the hip flexors, the quadriceps, the hamstrings, all the different muscles in the thighs and the hip area, folding both legs in. Okay, here's our option now, several options. We can hold onto the mat on each side with your hands and kind of push the mat away. We can lift up one butt cheek, bring the thumb under there, lift up the other butt cheek, so the tips of your thumbs are almost finding your tailbone. And the reason for doing this is we're going to try and do that movement with both legs. We don't need to do any of those, we can just keep our tailbone on the ground if you know that your back and your core is okay. Slowly lengthen both legs up, let's keep those big toe mounds lightly touching. As you exhale, may we, either the left leg again or maybe both together, lightly drop the leg or legs down to the floor, lightly brush the heel or heels against the ground, slowly float the leg or legs back up, and then draw either the left leg in or both legs in. Your choice, this is your practice. Let's do that again, either with the right leg now or with both legs. Slowly lowering the legs down to the ground, lightly brushing the heel. Remember, you can hold on to the mat. Slowly, gently float those legs back up. And then either draw the right leg in with the left or we draw both legs in. And just have a little rest here, rocking a little bit side to side. Maybe the head goes in the opposite direction. Maybe we just stay here and just hold those legs. Just do what feels right for you. We're going to take those feet down. They're going to come a little bit wider than your hips, but not quite as wide as your mat. It's always a bit tricky because you can actually get wide mats these days, so who knows how wide our mats are. We're going to slowly lift up through the right leg, hand to the back and the front of your thigh, rotate your whole thigh, foot is flexed. We keep the right foot flexed as we invite it to find the left knee. It's not right actually on the top of your kneecap here, but a little bit above it. So by flexing the right foot, we're supporting the right knee. And we find the extent of our movements. Well, I can move my right knee right out, but what happens is I swivel through my pelvic girdle. That's really no good. Remember, we're paying attention to what's going on in the spine. So we just find where that right knee needs to go to keep the hips level. You're going to lift up through the head and shoulders. There's your triangle there. We know we got the option of holding on to the foot and the knee. We're going to lift the left leg off the ground. We can thread our needle and take your hands to the back of your left thigh. So we're either holding onto the back of our thigh as we lay our head and shoulders down, we're holding onto the knee and the foot. I quite like holding onto the knee and the foot because it allows my shoulders to feel as if they're relaxing down to the ground. Doesn't make it any less intense for my right thigh, it just means it's softer on my shoulders. So you decide where you'd like to hold on to. We lengthen up to the ceiling with that left leg, and we just do a few ankle rolls here. Just check out how that feels. And then we relax through that left leg. We're going to slowly take our left hand to the right knee, the right arm's going to go up to the floor, and we're going to just guide this whole kind of configuration over to the left hand side. Notice if that intensifies your stretch here on the right thigh, right hip, right buttock. Slowly and gently come back to center. Now draw everything in as close to your body as you can, whether you're holding onto the back of your thigh or the knee and the foot. And let the left leg take it away to the left. Notice how it's a very different sensation. I find this much more intense. You can come back to your jari breath if it's really strong sensation and kind of breathe into it. Giving yourself that power of endurance also, it feels like. And then slowly and gently let that left foot come down to the ground. We're going to slide the right leg completely over it. Maybe tuck the right foot behind your left leg if you're, again, that's proportions. And then allow those legs to fall completely to the left. So we're still focusing on the right hip. Now I feel it's more of a lengthening sensation, feeling the stretch around the lower back, the sacrum. And just go as deep as you need to. This is your practice, remember. When you're in time, draw the navel in, let the back roll to the floor to lift yourself up, untangle those legs, and come back to center. So again, we find that balance if we can. We realign through the spine. And then we notice that maybe one side, one hip, one thigh, everything feels a little bit different on one side than the other. So let's see if we can balance it out physically. Lengthen the left leg up to the sky, hand the front to the back of the thigh, flex through the left foot, rotate the thigh so we're not twisting through the knee at all here, and then let that left ankle find it's just above the right knee, just on the base of the thigh there. Again, we know that if we can extend the leg out too far, it's going to twist. We feel the shortening the hip coming up to the ribs on the right side. We want to try to keep that alignment. And then we make a choice about lifting up through that right foot. What are we going to do on this side? Maybe we do something different. Maybe holding onto the thigh this time. And for me, because this is my tight side, as soon as I come into this position, I'm already there. I almost feel I don't need to move anything else. You decide where you need to go, draw the legs in, right hand to the left knee, we take our left arm out, we look over to the left, and we just bring those legs over a bit to the right hand side. We've still got the contact between the knee and the ankle, we've still got that kind of lifting up the ankle with that right knee, breathing into it, notice where you feel it. Slowly and gently come back to center. Now we're either going to hold on to the foot and the knee or the back of your right thigh, whatever option works for you. Fold everything in a little bit more and just take that left knee. For me now, all I'm going to do is take my left knee a fraction to the left. And this deepens this stretch as much as I need right now. Tailbone stays on the ground, we fold everything in, slight shift to the right, make it a little cycle that we kind of keep with just for a couple of rounds of your breath. Again, find your Ujjayi breath if that helps you. And then slowly, gently let the right foot come down the ground. We're going to slide the left leg over the right. Maybe again, if you feel you can, tuck the foot behind the right leg or ankle and allow all legs. Feels like we've got about 10 there wrapping around themselves. Let them fall over to the right hand side. So again, for me, the stretch now has moved from my outer thigh, my IT band, my hip, coming into the waist, the back, coming round to the sacrum. And I can feel this stretch coming right up actually to my left armpit. So it's a very different sensation, but the effect is still the same. We're loosening, creating space in this left hip. Slowly and gently roll onto your back. Fabulous. Uncross those legs, feet on the ground, realign through the spine, make whatever adjustments you feel you need to. And maybe we feel like, oh, okay, now I've got the balance back. Now I can feel that. Move the head slightly side to side. That's suggested now maybe to bring the soles of your feet together and come into your cobbler pose. Almost the opposite movement. Those knees just kind of fall away, let gravity and breath do the work for you. Draw the navel in a little bit if you feel the lower back is too arched, and maybe even soften these lower ribs in the front of your body. Draw the chin in, lift up the corners of your mouth. Have we forgotten what we were smiling about? Maybe we can smile now because we've done that hip opener, which we know can be pretty intense. And then slowly we're going to take our fingers maybe to the outer thighs, lifting those legs up, coming back, taking our feet as wide as the mat now. If you're not on the mat, if you're just at home on the carpet, that's fine. Just feel that your feet are at least shoulder width, maybe even a little bit wider. Let the knees come in towards each other. There's a little sense of kind of pushing with your feet as if you're trying to slide yourself head first up the mat, and that may allow your lower back to drop down to the ground. We're just going to move that right leg out of the way sufficiently for the left knee to drop down to the inside of your right ankle. And then you're going to lift that knee up. The knees lightly touch in passing. And then we take the left leg just out of the way sufficiently for the right knee to drop down to the inside of your left ankle. And encourage it, coming back up, the knees lightly kiss as they move past each other. Right knee's upright, left knee drops down. Again, we encourage, we're coaxing, we're not forcing. Lightly let those knees, just a little bit of brush as they come back. The left knee just comes up to center and the right knee drops right down. Just one more time on the right side, and this time we're going to go a little bit deeper into it if we need to. So we allow the left knee to drop down to the inside of your right ankle. We have the option here of bringing the outside edge of your right foot and ankle on top of your left knee. So again, we're adding a little bit more weight. Don't push it down, don't force it. We're just resting the outer edge of your ankle or foot on the top of your left leg. Notice how that deepens, the stretching here through the waist, the obliques, through the hip flexors. And you're in time, just very gently let that right foot come down to the ground. Slowly, slowly, slowly lift that left leg up. Again, let those knees just lightly brush as they pass each other. And then the left leg goes up to center, the right knee begins to drop down to the inside of the left ankle. And if this is enough, then we stay here. We don't need to put the other foot on top, but we can if we'd like to. We just rest. And we find that exhale, a little bit of stretch. We're just letting your breath and your gravity doing the work for you, your two best friends in yoga. Just notice how it feels to maybe make a slight sound as you exhale, a sighing sound as if, wow, that really is releasing. And then slowly we take that left foot off the right leg. If you did put it on there, gradually bring them back up. Again, just allow those knees just to rest against each other while you realign through the spine. And then we're going to come back to our cobbler pose. So just heel toe will walk those feet in. Just allow the soles of your feet to face each other. Maybe just rock here a little bit. And again, if you feel that your lumbar spine, your lower back is excessively arched, navel from the pubic bone, draw the belly in and soften the lower ribs in the front of your body. I can almost feel the back of my waist now touching the floor. Just takes the stress out of it. Fabulous. And then slowly again, hands down to thighs, lifting up through those knees. Walk the feet apart just a fraction. We're going to draw one leg into your chest. As long as the back feels okay, we do the second leg. We just hug them in. We can roll a bit side to side here. We can lift up through the head and shoulders. Give those knees a little kiss. Thank them for carrying around all day long. And we can rock. Almost going to come over so far that you're on one shoulder, one hip. You're not quite sure if you're just going to lose your balance, and then roll back, go to the other side. Notice you almost go so far and then the core just involves itself and helps to bring you back. Try not to use your elbows as your braking system, it's very tempting. And then just come back to center. If we can, we slide our hands down the front of our shins to bring our feet to the floor. I have long arms, I can do that. If you're unable to do that, it's fine. Just allow the feet to come as close to your bottom. We reach the hands down, and remember that just takes the shoulders away from your ears. Palms facing down, spread the fingers, sitting at 180 degrees between your little finger and your thumb. And we're just going to bring those big toes in a fraction. So you feel as if a little bit in-toed, as if the outer edge of your feet now are parallel maybe to the outer edges of your mat. Make sure the big toe mound and the little toe mound stay grounded as we begin to roll up again. Little pelvic tilts to start with, and then we're going to come up to our bridge pose. So just rolling up and down. Remember the tailbone stays tucked under the whole time. That protects the lumbar spine. For me, I feel this first in my hip flexors and my quads. That's where I feel that, and that reminds me that sometimes I need to work a bit more on my quads. Send the knees and the shins forward so you feel as if you're almost closing the gap between your sitting bones and your heels. And by now, maybe you will have come up as high as you feel you need to. There's no right height, there's no amount of elevation we need to find. Listen and work with the energy levels of your body right now. And just keep coming up and down a little bit. Noticing how you feel. And then slowly roll back down. We're going to come up again. We're going to think about how we're going to hold our bridge pose. And we're also going to, here in the studio, we've all got a soft little block. At home, if you don't have a block like this, you can just use a cushion. You can use a rolled up blanket maybe. And again, of course, the other thing you can do, because we are obviously on nice carpet at home, maybe underlay, unless you've got a wooden floor, The other thing you can do would be to roll up your mat so that as you do hold it, we hold it when we come down, you allow your sacrum to actually come onto the mat, because that's all we're going to use our block for. So whenever you're ready, we're going to just take a breath in, maybe kind of wiggle around a little bit, walk those feet in a bit, move the hands down a little bit more. And we've decided, are we going to hold our buttocks as we roll up? Are we going to bring the hands underneath ourselves, interlace your fingers, little finger on the floor? Or maybe my favourite sometimes is robot arms. I found that's really good. I can drop the shoulders down. So you decide, your practice, in your own time. We're going to roll up again. Find yourself holding your bridge, send the knees away from you, keep the tailbone tucked under. Maybe notice, are you clenching your butt cheeks? We don't really need to. You can let them be kind of engaged but without being clenched. Maybe you've got your hands on your buttocks so you can feel the tension there. Just release them so you can feel that softening in your hands. And then whenever you're ready, if you've got that rolled up mat, we're going to keep it there. If you've got a block or a cushion, we're going to bring it underneath. And as we slowly and gently come down, we're going to find whatever we're using to support our pelvic girdle to be literally like a ledge to lay our back of our hips on. And it's a very small incline. Those of you at home, you can use a bolster, excuse me, coming up higher. You can put 2 cushions, whatever you want to do. But here in the studio, we've just got one block here. It's nice, it's very gentle. We're going to extend our legs out, heels on the ground, big toe mounds just very lightly touching. So there's a very subtle inward rotation through the thighs. Maybe bring our hands again to soften the lower ribs in the front of your body. That may allow another rib at the back perhaps to touch the ground. Keep the chin drawn in, release the jaw, soften. Notice if you're frowning with concentration. Maybe move the head a little bit side to side. Lovely extended, supportive, gentle back bend here. And then maybe we can release the legs, so let those feet just flop open. And maybe notice, for me it means that my calf muscles make contact with the ground. Before they weren't, now they are. Outward rotation now through the thigh bones. Feels a little bit broader, almost more open across the lower pelvic floor, between one hip bone to the other. And then whenever you're ready, we just gently bend up one knee, bend up the other knee. We can stay here for a breath or two, maybe, if that feels good. Remember, you can also lift those legs up and bring them up into the sky, coming into kind of legs up the wall, but without the wall there. You may find you need to realign slightly where your block was, perhaps. And this could be a nice little restorative moment during your practice. You can bend the knees as well, just let them kind of fall down towards your body. So there's lots of positions we can get into while we're in this place. Spread the toes, energize the soles of your feet. And then slowly, gently, wherever you are, let's let one foot come down the ground and then the other. Keep the heels off the floor. In your own time, just lift up through that block. Lift up through the hips to remove the block. And then slowly, gently roll back down. Maybe keep the heels off the ground until your tailbone is on the floor. And then we can maybe take those arms overhead, have a little stretch. Maybe rock the hips a little bit side to side. Oh, maybe have a yawn. And then draw those knees in. Hugging them in nice and tight. Maybe lifting up the head and shoulders again. Because remember, bridge pose and the back bend obviously is a little back bend. So we need to release and do the counter pose. Maybe kissing those knees again, always a good chance to kiss them. We have the option of crossing the feet over, reaching down for the outer edges of your toes, or just taking the hands behind the back of your thighs. Whichever works for you, to allow you to roll yourself on your back and to bring yourself up. So if you did come up with your legs together, then we just lightly cross the ankles, bring them close to your body and lean forwards. And just take this moment to rest through the spine. Chin dropping down towards the chest maybe. Notice here, very often we complain sometimes in our yoga practice, we have a little moan, don't we, about it's got bits that get in the way. Very often in our yoga practice we encourage that compression. That is exactly what we're looking for, bits getting in the way. It's not a very nice adjective, but kind of description, I suppose. So now we're looking for the compression in the body, the fact that the belly is all scrunched up, we can't possibly breathe into the front of our body, there's no room. So we're invited to take our breath to the back of our body, to the sides of our body. Just noticing how that feels. And then slowly and gently, we bring ourselves up. So whatever you were using as support there, maybe we just move it out of the way. I'm just going to turn around so that I can see my lovely students are still here too. So coming into our cross-legged position without anything under our buttocks or our heads to elevators. And maybe notice how that feels a little bit more awkward, to try to get both knees level, to get that balance maybe. So maybe we acknowledge that imbalance and we just kind of work with it. Taking your hands back behind you, let's lift up through our heart center. If we can lift up through our hips as well if you choose to. And then slowly come back down. Draw the chin to the chest, we're going to round down, interlacing your fingers in front of you, pushing your hands away as you draw the navel right in. And we're going to take the left hand over to the side and slowly bring the right hand beside you, behind you, or over, whichever works for you. Slowly and gently coming back to center. Do the same on the other side. We take the right hand out. We bring the left arm behind us maybe to balance, and maybe bring it over your head. Whatever feels right for you. We're going to take that left leg and stretch it right out to the side. Make sure that the heel of your right leg is digging into your pubic bone if you can. So if you can try to settle yourself down, both sitting bones firmly on the ground. We're going to slide our left hand down, maybe holding onto your left toes, maybe bringing the hands to the inside. Really doesn't matter where we go, just kind of take a few times, just seeing how it goes, bringing the left hand up, taking it down again, maybe reaching. Remember the length of your bones in your arms, a lot of it is that's what allows us to touch the toes. It's not any skill. And then just come to wherever you feel you need to come. Maybe bring the hand, as I say, to the inside, holding onto the toes. The right hand comes halfway up that right thigh and we rotate the right shoulder up, looking up to the ceiling. Try to find the alignment between this little side bend and the position of your head. So we're not dropping the head forwards, we're not flinging it backwards. We're just trying to get that progressive side bend. Whichever way you are, maybe bending the elbow a little bit, bringing the elbow down towards the knee perhaps, may be available to you. And then slowly and gently we're going to come up. We're going to extend that right arm out. We have several options here. We can just stretch it, bring the arm out. If you like, we can roll onto this right knee and bring yourself up into that beautiful side bend. And then slowly and gently come down. We're going to take our right arm now over to that left toe or leg and do the same thing. Remember, you can stay on the ground, just lean over. We can come up onto that knee if you choose to. Slowly and gently come back. One last time. Right hand coming over to the left leg. And then the right hand coming up, maybe sweeping up into that side bend. And then slowly and gently come back to center. Just briefly, let's extend out through the right leg as well. Checking out how you feel. Take those hands back behind you. Have a little wiggle through the shoulders, lift your heart center up. Again, if you choose, you can point your toes and lift the whole body up. We don't have to, but there's an option for you. And then we're going to bring that left foot in. So now that you know, I'm actually going to change a little bit here so that I know when I come up on my left knee, I've got the mat rather than just on the floor here. So again, it could be an option with a cushion if you choose to. So sitting up, finding the sitting bones nicely grounded. And again, take your time. We're just going to take that right hand down towards the right leg, taking it down towards the toes, reaching down on the inside maybe to get that little extra movement for the twist. And on the third time, we just stay wherever we feel we can. If it's touching your toes, maybe first 2 fingers between the big toe and the next toe. Left hand goes halfway up your thigh as we rotate here. And again, we feel this gentle, so we've got a twist going on, we've got a side bend. We keep the alignment through the crown of the head, softening the shoulders down. Just notice how you feel. And then slowly and gently just release that. And maybe for the first time, we're just going to stretch over to the left-hand side, reaching up through the right arm. That may feel great. And then let's see how we go for the next few times. Left arm comes right over, maybe to your right toes, maybe to the leg. Slowly come back, maybe use that right arm to lift you up into that beautiful stretch. Slowly and gently come back down. Taking the left arm over again, reaching over. Inhale, coming back up into that beautiful stretch, if that's available for you. Slowly come back down. One last time, here we go. Reaching over, right, left arm reaching for the left leg. And then swinging maybe that right arm up to create that beautiful lift through the body. Slowly and gently come back down. Realign through the spine, your sitting bones, open up through both legs. We're just going to take those knees a little bit away from the ground. Sliding both hands down and let your hands come into the inside. So now we're releasing through and letting the head hang down again. You can feel that beautiful stretch in the back of your neck. Maybe as you breathe in, you feel yourself lifting up, and as you exhale, you soften down a little bit more. But slowly, gently, we're going to bring ourselves up onto our hands and our knees. So find a smooth way of coming up so we're not disturbing this wonderful connection to ourselves. We know that the alignment cues is wrists under shoulders. If that works for you, that's great. Otherwise, find a position that does. Toes tucked under or flat. If your feet are flat, then the invitation is to push down a little bit with the tops of your feet. Notice how that kind of engages through the quads a little bit in the lower back and the belly. If you prefer to have your toes tucked under, that's totally fine. So just for the next few breaths, if you can find any other range of motions other than cat-cow. Cat-cow is the one, we're going to do it in a moment, there's nothing wrong with cat-cow, but notice how the other areas of your body get affected, down the sides of your body maybe as you do a little side bend. Bringing those hips back with a stretch in the shoulders. And then as you come back to your kind of tabletop position, I guess we call it, then we can begin to just finish this little routine with a couple of cat-cow movements. Dropping the belly to the floor, shoulders coming down your back, pulling the collarbone forwards in front of your shoulders, rounding up again the navel, really finding the front of that spinal column. Draw the head of your upper arms backwards as the collarbone comes forwards. Really feel how that helps to get that contraction in the back of your body. And then slowly come back to your neutral spine. Draw the head up again. Remember, we're trying to keep the head in line, always focusing on the alignment from the crown of your head to your tailbone. And then just take your left hand over to the floor and bring the right foot forwards. Coming forwards into a bit of a lunge here, so it doesn't have to be the deepest lunge you've ever made. And then slowly walk your hands back as you come into your runner's stretch. Excuse me. Walking your hands forwards as you come into your lunge. Almost riding this thigh back. I feel as if my body's resting on my thigh until I come back, and then I lift lift my body away from my thigh. This time as we come forwards, the left hand stays on the floor. We do a big circular motion with that right hand. As soon as it's back on the floor, then we walk our hands back into our runner's stretch. Let's do that 2 more times. Left hand comes forward first. We rest our body on that right thigh. You draw a big circle with that right hand. Walking the hands back for your runner's stretch. One last time. Lift the body away from your thigh. Here we go, last time. Running that beautiful circle with your right arm. Fabulous. Coming back, runner's stretch. This time the invitation is to keep your hands as far forward as you can. Flex through that right foot and fold over it. Pull, almost dig that heel into the ground as you pull that right hip back. Breathe into it. You can straighten the leg if we can. We take the left hip over the left heel. And then we just take the left hand out and we bring that right leg back. Flattening the toes, bringing the toes together, coming back into your child's pose. You decide how wide altogether your legs need to be. Again, whatever you were using earlier, for us here it's a little block. If you find that the heels and the hips don't want to come together, you can put a cushion there, rolled up blanket, whatever it is. So you don't feel as if you're just kind of hanging. So again, we check in, we notice if there's any imbalance. We've done some very definite movements with our shoulder, with our hips. Notice how one side may feel very different. So let's see if we can find that balance again. Sliding the hands forwards. Right hand comes off the floor now, and we lean sideways to bring that left leg forward. So again, we're not too concerned about the knee-ankle alignment here, if only because we're not going to come up and do lots of fancy stuff. So as long as we've got our hands on the floor most of the time. So again, we just walk the hands back to begin with, lift the body up. Walk the hands forwards. As soon as I reach forwards, my belly and my thigh make contact, and I use it. I reach forwards, and then I just lift my heart center up. Riding my left thigh backwards, then I lift my body away. Slowly coming forwards. Really going to be quite a smooth movement. Inhale maybe as we come forwards. Exhale as we come back. You decide. And then this time we come forwards, going to let the right hand touch the floor first, and that left hand just sweeps forwards, up, does that little circular motion. As soon as it's back on the ground, then we come back into our runner's stretch. 2 more times. Right hand comes forward, left hand does that big circle, rotating through the shoulder girdle. As soon as the fingers are on the floor, we slide them back, coming back into that runner's stretch. Here we go, last time. Right hand comes forward. Really get that beautiful. Maybe notice your shoulders opening up a little bit. This time as we come forwards, we're going to keep both hands as far forward as we can. Come into that runner's stretch here. Dig your left heel in and almost feel that you're trying to draw that left hip back a little bit more. Breathe into it. If it's too much, then take the hands back, lift up a little bit, obviously. We are expecting discomfort, but we try not to go into pain. And then slowly come forwards. Just take your hands over to the right, bring that left leg back. We're going to consciously widen our knees a little bit now, bring the big toe mounts together, put something between your heels and your hips. Maybe allow your head to come to the floor. So we can extend our Balasana, we can have your arms out in front of you. You can support your head with your hands. You can drape those arms back over your thighs, palms facing up. Maybe just let the forehead go to the ground. Or again, another option would be to turn your head slightly to one side. So really explore, because you know what, you can come and you can do this 10 times today. And it will feel different every time you come down into your child's pose. So we are invited to pay attention, not to just do the same, to be aware. Slowly and gently, if you did have your head to one side, slowly take it to the other side. And then gradually let's take those hands forwards, nice and slowly. Stretching out if they were already out in front of you, then maybe just reach them a little bit further to get that beautiful stretch down the armpits, sides of your rib cage, upper arms, triceps, right the way down the forearms. I can feel this stretch. Slowly, gently round up through the body. We're going to bring those knees in. We're going to tuck our toes under, spreading the fingers. And in your own time, just float up those knees and bring yourself into your downward facing dog. And just kind of walk it out a little bit here. Imagine you're wagging your tail in slow motion, maybe. Slowly bring those shoulders forwards, coming into plank, maybe. We're going to lower our body down onto the floor. Coming into a prone position, hands maybe still underneath your shoulders. Roll the shoulders away, just come into a little baby cobra. Maybe rock a little bit. So we draw the shoulder blades down. We draw the navel away from the floor. Let the head come down as if you're bowing down to Mother Earth. We can lift up through that baby cobra, coming back into plank again, and then slowly coming back into your downward facing dog. We're just going to do that little routine just a couple more times. If plank isn't your thing, as soon as we come forwards, you can drop your knees down. It's totally fine. Then all you've got to do is kind of take them back a bit to come down onto your front in your prone position. Elbows tucked in. Again, if like me you enjoy doing a full back bend, then please do by all means, otherwise just a baby cobra. Going to tuck the toes under, come back into your plank position, or maybe still on your knees, it's totally fine. And then lift up through the hips to come into your downward facing dog. So just one last time. Make it work for you. Make this little vinyasa flow work for you. Do what feels right for you. From downward dog to plank, whether your knees are on the floor or not. From plank, we're going to lower ourselves down to the ground, coming into our prone position. We're going to roll those shoulders away, come up into a baby cobra, maybe a full cobra, you decide. Slowly coming back, maybe plank with your knees on the floor or full plank. And then on the next inhale, lift up those hips. Maybe shorten the distance between your feet and your hands. We're just going to take 5 deep breaths. The suggestion here is to sigh as you exhale. Those of you watching this on video, of course, you can exhale through the mouth. Here in the studio, I'm still honouring everybody's space, respecting them by just breathing out through the nose. Just let it go. And then slowly let's come down onto our knees. Maybe this time keep the knees together if that feels okay. Again, we are inviting now that compression of the belly and the thighs as we come into any modified balasana. Feel that compression is creating the sense of breathing into the back of your body. Feel the back expanding, almost feel those shoulder blades opening like beautiful butterfly wings as you breathe into the whole of your back. And then slowly and gently, in your own time, let's bring ourselves down onto the floor. We are getting ready for Shavasana. If you prefer, those of you here in the studio, if you want to turn around, put the legs up the wall, please feel free. We've got our blocks we can sit on, put them under our head, under our hips. Those of you at home watching this, please feel free to find whatever position works for you. Tell you what my students are putting on their socks and their tops. This is the noisiest group ever, and they have been the quietest ever today than I've ever heard them. I told them I wasn't videoing them, and they obviously didn't agree. No names, no petrol. So finally, whatever position works for you, I'm going to remain seated. Taking a few moments to again, invite your body to find this place of ease, this place of softness, this place of stillness. Yoga really invites us to find the ability to be with ourselves in silence and stillness. And it's hard for a lot of people, it's really hard. Being still is the hardest thing they have to do. And then to sit with themselves in silence stillness. Some people find that even harder. Notice how it feels for you. And my invitation is to explore the ability to do that as often as you can. When we talk about a regular practice, we normally mean just going to a studio or maybe doing it once a week. We are invited to find 5 minutes every single day if we can to just be. Whether it's waiting for that cup of coffee to cool down, smelling the coffee, anticipating the taste of the coffee, the joy of having a cup of tea or tea, whatever it is, good. Whatever it is you're waiting to cool down right now. And just be. We are human beings, we are not human doings. So find a position that works for you right now, softening the whole body, just letting everything melt back into the arms of Mother Earth. Those of you watching this on Tube, you know that you are invited to stay in this position for as long as you have available for yourself. And thank you for being patient with me, those guys. This is a Tuesday session that never happened because of whatever, I'm not quite sure what, but anyway, technical issues, we'll call it that. So for those who are on YouTube, thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for joining me.